That's exactly what I'm saying. Because I think it makes a mockery of the women's game. If the focus on, now we just have to have people because of marketing and their attention, and they're not as talented, and we're not putting the best team out there.
This came right after Molly went on air and said Caitlin is making women's sports look bad. She claimed Caitlin lowered the quality of the game and that people only talk about her because she connects with fans. At the same time, the Fever lost by 1 point to the Mystics last night, in what became the most attended game in WNBA history. Washington moved the game against Caitlin Clark to a nearby NBA arena, and it turned into a new all-time WNBA attendance record. It's hard to explain just how much Caitlin Clark has done for the WNBA. The numbers are unreal. Look at that crowd. Caitlin Clark is now a name everyone knows, packing arenas and pulling in viewers across the country. So why are some analysts, including ESPN's Molly Qerim, saying her talent is somehow hurting the sport, even when the data says the opposite? As Caitlin keeps posting wild stat lines every game, the debate keeps growing. Did she only bring in fans to fill seats, or has she also pushed the level of play higher? And what about comments from other players like Angel Reese, who say they've made the sport bigger too? When you look at it closely, is it Caitlin's work ethic and skill that's truly changing the game? Over the last few years, Caitlin Clark has become one of the biggest forces in women's basketball. Her on-court results have brought huge attention, but not all of it has been supportive. As she rose fast, ESPN voices, especially Molly Qerim, spoke loudly against her. What should have been a major win for women's sports turned into an argument about Caitlin's impact and what her success means for the future. Even though her records and ability are clear, the way some media figures respond has sparked talk about jealousy, sexism, and unfair standards that female athletes deal with. Molly Qerim drew major attention when she said Caitlin Clark is making a mockery of the sport. The comment surprised a lot of fans and spread quickly. But does that claim really hold up? Not really.
Kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement. Targeted by society, targeted by her looks, targeted by her reputation, targeted by the disrespect that they've shown to the WNBA. There's a huge target on this kid's back. I thought Cameron Brink said something really smart. She said, no, they're expecting this rookie class to be perfect. This rookie class isn't even one of the best rookie classes in the last 10 years.
Qerim argued that even though Caitlin has clearly boosted crowds and ratings, she hasn't improved the real level of basketball. In her view, Caitlin's style looks exciting but doesn't add much beyond highlights. She framed it as something that draws casual viewers, but doesn't strengthen the game itself. The message behind it was that Caitlin is being treated like an entertainer more than a serious athlete, bringing attention but not protecting what the sport should be. The core of that criticism seems to be that Caitlin depends too much on deep threes and big highlight moments, which some people say pulls away from the basics. Qerim's point is that a focus on big scoring can take away from teamwork, defense, and smart game planning, the parts she sees as most important. But you have to look at Caitlin Clark's real results. She isn't just a show. She has put up numbers that place her among the most complete and dominant players in women's basketball history. At Iowa, she smashed record after record, including becoming the youngest player in NCAA history to post multiple triple-doubles in one season. And she's not only scoring. Her scoring is elite, but she's also a high-level passer who often leads in assists. Her decision-making is next level, letting her read plays early and deliver passes that catch everyone off guard. The idea that her game is only entertainment falls apart when you check the stats. She's not only launching threes, she's creating offense, breaking defenses, and controlling the pace in ways you rarely see from someone her age. And it's not only offense. Caitlin also competes on defense, takes tough matchups, and has led her team in steals. So when people say she hasn't raised the level of women's basketball, it ignores the fact she's doing things that weren't normal before. If anything, she's expanding what players believe is possible, making opponents adjust and pushing teammates to improve. And it hasn't only been Qerim. Monica McNutt has taken a similar approach too. She even said that if Chicago finished above Indiana, which didn't happen, she would give Rookie of the Year to Angel.
Watch this. I have said this all season, BC. My Rookie of the Year is going to go based on the standings. Okay. Because I think that is how you have the opportunity to measure impact.
And the sky is right above them.
And the sky right now are in the playoffs, so you'd have to give the nod in my mind to Angel Reese.
Again, what I think is happening here is this black woman is trying to play mental gymnastics and find a way to put Angel Reese above Caitlin Clark. Rookie of the Year does not go to a team. That's why it's called Rookie of the Year. It goes to an individual player. So wouldn't it make sense that you would analyze their statistics and analyze individual play overall? Like, this woman is doing all types of mental gymnastics in order to come to this conclusion so she can try to place Angel Reese above Caitlin Clark in that race. When the Fever and the Future are ranked higher than the Sky, I'll be curious to see if she says the same thing. See if she then tries to maneuver to something different.
One of Caitlin Clark's biggest strengths is how steady she is. Night after night, she delivers numbers that should force critics to rethink their takes. In the 2024 to 2025 season, for example, she averaged 27 points a game, plus 8 assists and 7 rebounds. Those are MVP-level stats in any setting, especially with tough competition. She's dropped 30, 40, even 50 in games, and has carried her team again and again. So when Molly and others describe her as more performance than substance, they ignore that her production isn't extra, it's necessary. It directly leads to wins. Iowa doesn't reach the same level without her. And big numbers don't mean she's selfish, they show how central she is to everything the team does. Her achievements back that up. She became a unanimous first-team All-American, and the first player in Big Ten history to put up 1,000 points and 200 assists in a single season. She also tore through scoring records for her age group. And a huge part of this is efficiency. She shot over 45% from the field and close to 40% from three. While Caitlin has mostly stayed calm through the noise, Angel Reese has stepped into the conversation. Reese, at LSU, has said more than once that she's the person who made women's basketball bigger, and that the media focused on Clark while ignoring what Reese brought to the sport. In Reese's view, she gets painted as the bad guy, while Clark gets treated like the good guy.
People don't understand, like, they think it's personal, but when I get between the lines, if friends or anything, if my teammate right here went to play for another team, I'm going to be competitive, I'm going to talk trash to her just because I'm super competitive and that's what we do. But off the court, we're going to kick it and have fun, so I think that's a part of the game, and just trying to normalize, like, trash talking is okay, but not taking it personal off the court, and obviously that has become a thing, and people are just trying to make it seem like it's something, but I love Caitlin, I love her game, and I admire everything she does.
But does that story match reality? Or is Reese trying to stay relevant by turning Caitlin into a rival? A lot of fans and analysts think Reese leaning into the villain role is mainly about attention. Reese is talented, no doubt, but her resume doesn't match what Clark has done. The claim that she's the main reason the sport has grown comes off more like branding than truth. It also matters that Caitlin Clark hasn't chased public drama with Reese or anyone else. In interviews, she stays respectful, avoids calling people out, and doesn't try to stir headlines. Even with that, some media voices still frame her in a negative way. Meanwhile, Reese, who often leans into controversy, seems to get less pushback. That frustrates Clark supporters, who believe she's being singled out simply because she's winning and getting attention. It can feel like people are searching for something wrong with her game or her personality, even when there's nothing there. And while Reese may like the role of a villain, it's obvious Caitlin Clark isn't interested in that kind of act. Her focus is simple: winning basketball games.
People are watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
One of the strangest parts of the Caitlin Clark situation is how the media talks about her. Even with nonstop success, she's often described in a negative way, with analysts like Molly Qerim questioning her skill and acting like she's more of a sideshow than a real star. That raises a fair question. Why is Caitlin Clark, someone who has done nothing but dominate at the top level, such a common target? Part of it may be that sports media often tries to knock down anyone who rises too fast. Caitlin's climb has been quick, and some people seem uncomfortable watching a young player achieve so much so early. Another piece is jealousy, especially from former WNBA players who may feel her spotlight makes their careers look smaller. Women's basketball has fought for attention for years. Now that Caitlin is bringing in new fans, Some former players appear upset that it took a new face to create the buzz they never got. But the biggest issue is the different standard women face. In men's sports, young superstars are praised. When LeBron James entered the NBA as a teenager and started breaking records, he was celebrated as the future. But when Caitlin Clark does something similar in women's basketball, some people accuse her of disrespecting the sport.
The Olympic break helped the Indiana Fever more than any other team. And I felt like the Olympic break really hurt Chicago. Because I thought before the break, Indiana was playing well, Chicago was playing well, and granted, there have been injuries and things like that. But since the Olympic break, this Indiana Fever team, to me, is a completely different team.
The Olympic break helped the Indiana Fever more than any other team. And I felt like the Olympic break really hurt Chicago. Because before the break, Indiana was playing well, Chicago was playing well. And yes, there have been injuries and other things. But since the Olympic break, this Indiana Fever team, to me, looks like a completely different team.
Will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen.
Okay. Not on the right.
That double standard isn't just wrong, it damages the sport. It tells people that even if a woman becomes great, she'll still be judged harder than men. And it can turn young girls away from sports, because they see that success doesn't always bring respect. Another major part of this Caitlin Clark debate is the jealousy coming from some former WNBA players. For a long time, the WNBA has struggled to get the same mainstream focus that men's leagues get. Many past players worked hard to grow the game and increase attention, but most of it didn't reach the wider sports audience. Now Caitlin Clark has done what they couldn't. She's brought in new fans, sold out arenas, and helped drive record TV numbers. But instead of cheering for that, some ex-players seem to resent it. They treat her rise like a threat to their legacy and avoid giving her full credit. You can hear it in how some of them talk about her publicly. Instead of owning how good she is and what she's added, they try to shrink her accomplishments, saying she's only popular because of hype. They suggest she didn't earn the spotlight, and that she's more of a media product than a real player. But that story falls apart when you look at the facts. Caitlin Clark earned her success. She did it with skill, hours of work, and real results. This type of jealousy isn't only misguided, it hurts women's basketball. Instead of tearing down the next wave of stars, former players should support them, because Caitlin's success helps the whole sport.
Caitlin Clark is all about winning. I don't know if y'all know that. I don't know if y'all been paying attention. See, I know why Cheryl Swoops is mad. I know why you mad, Cheryl. Because you see Caitlin making the money that you wish you would have made when you was a player. And you kind of bitter. You kind of salty. It's a jealous spirit. The moral of the story is this. Every OG is not an OG. Some OGs just old and grumpy.
Caitlin Clark's rise isn't only about one athlete. It's about where women's basketball is headed. She has shown there's a huge audience for women's sports. She has pulled in people who may have never watched a women's game before. She has filled arenas, broken viewership records, and proved women's basketball can be intense, exciting, and high level. This is what the WNBA has wanted for years. The league has been trying to bring more eyes to the game, and now that it's happening, the response should be excitement, not attacks. Caitlin Clark has done more to boost women's basketball in just a few years than many players manage across an entire career. She has raised the sport's visibility in a way very few expected. She has also shown the game can grow into a major part of the sports world. And still, she keeps getting unnecessary criticism from analysts like Qerim and from some former players. But Clark supporters believe her effort and talent will keep proving the point, and that no amount of jealousy or media pressure will erase what she's building. Caitlin Clark's journey in women's basketball has been outstanding. She has broken records, brought in new fans, and proven she's one of the best players of her generation. Even so, she keeps dealing with criticism from analysts and former players who seem determined to reduce what she's done. But her record book, her performances, and her obvious ability answer all of it. No jealousy and no media noise can undo her achievements. And her legacy will keep growing as she keeps making critics look wrong. Caitlin Clark is not mocking the sport. She's improving it. And women's basketball has a brighter future because of her. As the spotlight stays on Caitlin Clark, one thing is obvious: her impact is real. Even with criticism from some ESPN voices and past players, her results speak clearly. It's time to recognize what she's done for women's basketball and get excited about what comes next. With the playoffs on Sunday, we're in for something special. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe.